I told you that I quiet quit sushi. When I was in the DR last year, I got parasites from eating oysters, I believe. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to eat this anymore. And then you come in with the bomb, but you said you can actually see it.
Most parasites in general that infect fish are microscopic, so you can't see them with the naked eye. Ways that you could spot them, I would say, white bumps on the skin, missing scales, but most people don't get fish that fresh.
Hey, Heal Squad, we are back for part 2 of our conversation with fitness and wellness expert Christina Gomes. Now, after listening to part 1, I know I'm already motivated to do more strength training in the gym. Make sure you guys check it out because she revealed the top workouts for women who are dealing with perimenopause, the top workouts for lowering cortisol and balancing hormones. Right now, what we're talking about today is why I quiet quit sushi and why that was probably a good thing. In case you didn't know, Christina is, or used to be, a sushi chef, and she told me enough to make me want to watch the fish I do eat even more. Plus, she shares the grocery list that can help you keep your cortisol levels down, regulate your metabolism, and she's got a few snack tricks to help you reach all of your 2025 fitness goals, or at least make it a lot easier, including how to make your morning smoothie super duper fast. I am super duper impressed, and so will you be. And I am literally leaving right now to go do it, and you will too. Tune in to find out. But one of the other things that we talked about the other day, because I told you that I quiet quit sushi. And I quiet quit sushi because when I was in the DR last year, I got parasites from eating oysters, I believe. And because oysters help you absorb the sun better. And also the exoskeleton of like shrimp. So Dr. Allison taught me if I could eat that shell part that we, pull the shrimp out of, if you eat that, it helps you absorb sun more too.
Wow.
And so I got really good at eating that, crunchy little skeleton because it's on the shrimp for that reason, I guess. And so anyway, she can explain that more or better than I can. But anyway, got the parasites, and the more and more I see online about parasites and cancer and people using ivermectin to heal their cancer, I started thinking, I said, I could hear my mom in the background. My mom was a school cafeteria cook, and she took all those, food prep classes. And, as a sushi chef, you had to take them all too. So how long fish can be out for and how long, it shouldn't be. And my mom never liked sushi. Maria, don't eat the sushi. She called it sushi. And I got her into sushi. We ate a little here and there, but she was not a fan of it. And I could hear her in my head recently. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to eat this anymore because I'm trying to heal from so many things. And I feel like maybe there's stuff that is not safe for me right now. So I was like, I'm just going to quit. And then you come in with the bomb and you're like, oh my God, yes, you can actually see it in swordfish. Now, we don't eat a lot of swordfish, but my dad does make it from time to time. And it's like crack. He makes it so yummy with lemon and olive oil and whatever. But you said you can actually see it.
So yes. So depending. So the reason why I brought up swordfish, right? I mean, I'll be fully transparent. Most fish carry parasites now, unfortunately, because of the way that the U.S. mass produces food. They're typically all kind of housed close by. So if one gets the parasite, almost all of them are going to have it. They're easily transmitted.
So you're talking about farm raised fish.
Yes, but they are still going to be out in the wild too. I mean, I've seen very many cases where they've been spearfished that morning and they come back and they have live parasites because it had just been harvested.
Where do parasites come from?
Oh gosh, everywhere. I mean,
like how do they appear? How you spear the fish and then how does it appear?
It has infested its way into the fish in the ocean. So, I mean, they come from the sand. I mean, they're microorganisms. I mean, most people in their lifetime will have a parasite, unfortunately. It's crazy to think about. But swordfish are known for for hosting probably the widest variety of parasites, including tapeworms, roundworms, lampreys, things like that. And those parasites are like the tapeworm and the roundworm are typically larger, so they're easier to spot with the naked eye, because most parasites in general that infect fish are microscopic. So you can't see them with the naked eye. Most of them.
Okay.
I say that because you have to see them under a microscope, which is terrifying. So swordfish, they're going to be more common. Now, ways that you could spot them, I would say, is white bumps on the skin of the flesh of the skin. So look for that. That's your first telltale. Yes. So if there's skin on the fish, your first telltale sign is looking for maybe white bumps or irregular blemishes on the skin. That's step one. Missing scales is going to be another one, but most people don't get fish that fresh where there is scales still on the fish. I worked with fish fresh like that for a while, so I was used to looking for that. Another one is bruising or holes in the flesh. So swordfish is easier to spot bruising. What's going to look like that kind of purplish or maybe darker color in the flesh. And then you're also might see maybe pinholes, like very, very small, like discolored pinholes. Obviously red pinholes being like really fresh, something really fresh was just through there. And then, actually looking for like a worm, which would be clear or white in appearance and could be really, really small, or maybe the tip of a fingernail in size. So they're
seeing something red in there was bad.
Yeah, like a red pinhole. So just like a little dot. Like even that, like most people would not even think about it. They'd be like, oh, it's just a blemish in the flesh. But I definitely would say it's something to look out for. There is ways to make sure that it's safe. The only concern that I have, or that I did have when I was consuming that type of stuff is, we go to restaurants usually and rely on them for this type of stuff. So they say that if you cook swordfish to an internal temperature of at least 145 degrees, for 15 minutes, it should be safe. Now, my only concern is that I worked in a restaurant for 8 years, so I've seen the hustle and bustle behind the scenes and how sometimes things maybe don't get cooked as long as they need to, or maybe, they're pulled quickly, right? We're trying to get things on the table. Obviously reputable. Now, this is even in a high-end, really great restaurant that I worked in. Things still happen. Corners still get cut sometimes. So if you're home and dad's cooking the swordfish, just make sure that he takes a temp and keeps it nice and hot for at least 15 minutes. And you should be good to go. There is said to say that in like regular sushi fish, so now we're talking raw fish, like that's a larger risk that you're taking because it's raw, so you can't cook it. And the only way that they say that it becomes safe is freezing it at -5 degrees for 7 days before thawing it and eating it. That is the only way to totally, and that's not even a total guarantee because some parasitic eggs are still resilient to that.
Okay. So let's talk behind the scenes. Is there a world in which people can see this stuff, identify it, and then they still sell it?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know that if I buy an expensive piece of swordfish and I tell my dad, that looks like a pinhole, my dad's going to freak out and be like, Maria, you crazy, because he's not going to want to waste it.
Yes. So that's what's tough is there has been times where we have identified fish that did have a parasite, and typically the protocol would be to cut that area out of the fish and then further inspect the rest of the fish. And then obviously take the proper protocol. So, that's your discretion. If you're like, well, I don't see any visible parasites, I'm going to cook it and just roll with the punches. That's okay. There's really nothing wrong with that, right? If you're doing the proper protocols. There's also ways to make your gut more resilient to parasites with proper eating. You can have a stronger, more acidic gut by eating things like garlic, and they say that pumpkin seeds and papaya seeds are known for making your gut very hard to, have to host a parasite. So there's like things that there's protocols that you can do if you're still like, well, I love sushi, because I know there's going to be many people that are going to see this and say,
yeah,
love sushi, I'm not giving it up. And I totally respect, to each their own.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really scary. So I feel like for me, as much as I've loved sushi and enjoyed it, I think it's probably better for me to just, yeah, call it a day. I think I'm done.
I
I think
get
I'm
it. I
done.
get it.
I think that there's enough fronts. Like I was in the shower this morning and I was like, my eyes are puffy and I see a little yellowing under the pupils. Like if you go like this, and my eyes have always been the whitest of white. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, there could be so many things going on. Is it the brain tumor? Is it the diabetes? Is it the liver lesions? Is it the freaking list is forever. I'm like, I don't need to add to it. I'm just gonna I'm just
Yes.
gonna start cutting
Excellent.
some stuff. Like, and to me, sushi's getting cut. I will keep eating fish that's well cooked. But otherwise, like I don't think I can take that gamble anymore.
There's plenty of cooked sushi out there that's delicious. I mean, I go get avocado, cucumber, and asparagus rolls, and I'm happy with that.
Okay. I mean, but then I also can't do the white rice technically either.
Yeah.
So
They do
whenever I've gotten
cucumber.
sushi, I'm like, the least amount of rice, please. But isn't that why they give you wasabi to help kill anything? Isn't that the whole purpose of the wasabi?
So I've never heard that method. I know that wasabi traditionally, like real wasabi root, is expensive and hard to come by, but it was just the taste and the experience that was why it was brought in. But I've never heard anything of that. I have heard of people drinking sake to kill parasites, taking shots of that really high alcohol content to make their gut,
Hmm.
acidic to not be able to have parasites survive.
Yeah. There's I think it's a mango sake at Nobu in Malibu that I had once. Oh no,
Mm,
passion fruit.
I love sake.
Oh my God. Any of you who are listening, if you can ever try passion fruit sake, it's unreal. I can never drink it again because of the sugar content, but it's crack. I really like sake. Actually, sake might have to accompany every fish meal of mine from now on. Although I
Yeah.
can't do it because of the liver. Shit.
You might be able to have certain types of sake that are polished, like really expensive, high quality sakes that are polished more. They take more of the carbohydrates off, so they have less
Hmm.
sugar content. So I could send you some resources on that.
Okay. Um, for our kind of fitness and I mean our nutrition goals for 2025, I know you talked about fermented stuff. Is there anything other than that that people should be thinking about adding in? Like I just added, and it was because of my Montel Williams episode where he talked about hemp and the anti-inflammatory properties of hemp. And I'm like, wow, I never really thought about it. I used to add hemp hearts to my salads. I clearly forgot that. I'm going to write that down so I can buy more. Um, but decided to start making hemp smoothies in the morning, and
Love that
I've
for you.
really loved it.
Yeah. So in relation to nutrition, if there's two small things you can do, and this is speaking to my ladies here, um, two small things: eat enough, eat carbohydrates. Actually, I got a couple more things. Have a small snack in the morning that is rich in carbohydrates and protein before you have your coffee. And then have a very small snack that is also rich in carbohydrates and protein right before bed.
Can you give me
Those,
some examples?
yes. So some examples are going to be like oatmeal with a little protein powder, or maybe we have some Greek yogurt or high protein plant based yogurt with a little bit of berries or granola. Maybe you like the grass fed beef sticks with a handful of organic popcorn, or, maybe you're into sourdough toast with a little peanut butter. All of those kind of complex carbohydrates with a little bit of protein are not only going to lower your cortisol first thing in the morning before caffeine intake and help regulate your metabolism and energy levels, but at night they're also going to help you produce more melatonin and sleep better. So if you can if you can focus on like starting your day with low stress and ending your day with getting a really good restful nice sleep, that's just going to benefit you in so many ways. It's not
So it
even
was protein and fiber?
a
Or
little
you
bit of
forgot?
protein and complex carbohydrates.
Carb.
Yep. So
Okay.
complex carbohydrates are always going to contain fiber. So you kind of get that without even having to
Mhm.
think about it, which is
Oh,
great.
that's so cool. I didn't know about the sleep part.
Yeah.
I just discovered a really yummy coconut yogurt because I've been looking for one that doesn't have all the shit in it. And because I started looking at the ones I was eating and they have all these weird things in them. So
And
it's called,
sugar.
yeah, it's called Cocoa June.
I knew you were going to say that.
No way.
It's so
Oh my
good.
God. It's so good. It looks, I mean, it's only got one ingredient, organic coconut, whatever it says.
Cultures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious. Delicious. I love that.
It's delicious. Like the other ones I was having weren't even good. I was just doing it because it was coconut yogurt and I thought it was good. But this was really yummy. So this morning I did that with some blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, and walnuts.
Beautiful. I absolutely love that. One way you could have fun with that when it gets warmer too is you can scoop that into ice trays, freeze it, and then make a smoothie bowl. So this is what I would do in the summer. I was like
Oh.
hooked on it. And I'd throw it in a blender with like some hemp milk. And you do like a scoop of protein powder. And then you have, you can throw your berries in too. Put it in a bowl with a little bit of granola, seeds, berries, a little drizzle of fresh honey, cinnamon, and salt. Oh my gosh, mind blowing. It's so good.
What a great idea to make. Oh my God, I've been trying to figure out how to make my morning smoothie routine easier, and I forgot about freeze trays.
Yes.
Okay. And I did not ever hear about hemp milk. Why have
Oh
I
yeah.
not used hemp milk?
They sell it at Stop and Shop. It's organic hemp milk. It's very robust, I will admit. But if you're putting it in a shake, you're not even going to notice.
What's robust mean?
It's earthy. It kind of has like a nice earthy. I personally don't mind it, but if you're used to drinking almond milk or coconut milk or something,
Okay.
you might be like, "Ooh, this is a little bold." But it's rich in protein and other vitamins and minerals, and it's an easy way if you don't have, your hemp hearts. You can just pour it right in with your morning shake.
Oh my God, I'm taking notes. I'm making my freeze trays immediately after this
I
to
love
make
that.
my smoothie life better. I love this idea.
The chef in me is always thinking like food, snacks. How can we make this fun and easy and sustainable?
Yeah. What other snack tricks do you have that are fun and
Oh
easy?
my gosh. So I make these banana protein muffins that like people just go nuts over. And it's a really simple, fun recipe. They are really high in carbohydrates. So I tell people like cut one in half, have it in the morning. I mean, you can have them anytime depending on your lifestyle and how your body absorbs carbs, but they are super simple. Your baby would probably love them. My son loves them. They're mashed banana, agave or organic honey, um, protein powder. You do all-purpose organic flour, cinnamon, baking soda, baking powder, and Himalayan salt. That's literally it.
Mix it and put it in the
Put it
yeah.
in a muffin.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna try making we've made them before with very little banana. But I'm gonna try it with some almond flour and
Yeah.
see because I feel like that's better for me.
Almond flour
Um,
is great, super fibrous, which would be really good for you to help absorb the carbohydrates. And you could also do applesauce, which would be, still have carbohydrates, but a lot less carbohydrates than like a banana.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, friends, if we can be honest, finding the perfect gift isn't always easy, especially for Valentine's Day. It's a challenge to pick out that little something that says, I love you, but that's where Macy's comes to the rescue with their incredible Valentine's Day gift guide. They've become a V-Day lifesaver. Macy's has they've curated an amazing selection of thoughtful and stylish gifts that are perfect for everybody on your list. If you're looking for something cozy or luxurious, perhaps you'll try the UGG slippers. For the tech enthusiasts, Macy's has all the hits like Sonos speakers, which is honestly what I'm thinking for Kev might be perfect. So don't wait, get a head start on spreading the love this Valentine's Day. Shop now at Macy's.com/gift guide, or you can visit Macy's nearby your home to find the perfect gift that shows just how much you care. When you're there, also get yourself a nice blender so you can make these amazing smoothies that Christina and I are talking about. Um, Okay, so banana muffins. We've made sweet potato muffins as well here,
Oh,
and they're really yummy with lots of cinnamon in them.
I love that. And cinnamon's
Yeah.
great for anti-inflammatory properties, so you can't go wrong. A great complex carbohydrate, so that's going to help digest nice and slow. I love that. No, that's great.
Yeah. Anything else any tips or tricks for staying on track for 2025 with your nutrition goals? I really am so excited you reminded me about these freeze trays.
Yeah, I always try to tell people keep it simple. A lot of people think that meal prep has to be extravagant. So, the biggest thing is, plan for success. And if you don't, you're planning to fail. I know that's kind of like a cliche saying, but it's so true. If you show up at the grocery store with no list or no intention, how are you gonna walk out with a plan, right? You just wander around, things aren't gonna jump out at you.
Mm-hmm.
So set yourself up with a plan. If you really have these large goals of, eating with structure, maybe you want to track food, maybe you want to just make sure you're eating enough. 3 meals a day, keep it simple. You don't have to make a lot of, variety of things. Just start with something small. Fresh is just as good. Frozen is just as good as fresh.
It's
So
actually better. We did an episode where we learned it traps all the nutrients in there, so it's actually better.
yeah, exactly. It stops them from the micronutrients from depleting as the veggies decay. So
Yeah.
I always tell people, don't be scared to grab, some the frozen steam fresh bags from the freezer section, and, throw some rice in some organic whole grain rice in your pressure cooker, and get some lean protein and call it a day. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be really simple. And if you set yourself up for success, you're just going to feel good. You never regret a healthy meal.
Yeah, never. Well, I have a question on the freeze trays actually. Could I pre-blend them so that they fit? Like I'm thinking of all my ingredients, right? Like I put my cauliflower, I put my spinach, the hemp, the chia, the flaxseed, the cinnamon, and then of course the milk and the berries. Like I'll put some blueberries in there. Can I pre-freeze the blended version into cube trays and then throw it in with some like warm water? Probably, right?
That might not be a bad idea. Like the amount that you might like, how big I mean, it depends on the amount that you're looking to do, but I would say like even having like a mason jar that already, so say if you're doing like chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts or something, even having like a mason jar of those all like mixed up and just kind of dumping them in, or your hemp parts or whatever you're putting in there. And then having your cauliflower and whatever you're doing to blend. Yeah, put that in. But they have like the nice larger ones, like for the big ice cubes that you could do
Yeah,
too.
that's what I'm
Especially if you have like
thinking.
a nice like high powered blender. I could see that being pretty
I'm
fantastic quick
thinking,
fits.
yeah, I'm thinking of pre-blending them in those freeze trays, and then I just pop the cubes into the blender with some hot water.
Deal. Done deal. Doesn't even have to be hot water, to be honest.
Well, because the blender doesn't blend very well if it doesn't have more liquid.
Yeah. I have is it a Vitamix?
I have a NutriBullet.
Oh, okay. The NutriBullets are awesome too. Yeah, I would say even if you use like half hot water and then like half hemp milk or whatever it is
Yeah.
you're using for your nutrient
Well,
profile.
I'm gonna blend the milk in with the other stuff, so they're gonna be
Oh,
pre-blended.
done.
So I think I'm just gonna add hot water. Oh my gosh, this is
Done
gonna
deal.
save so much time.
Those might be a fun little snack for Athena too. Like to kind of like a pre-blended little for teething and
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, it's funny. She has a big molar coming in. So I've been putting frozen strawberries in her little thing so she can chew. And then she looks at me and she goes, Mas, Mas.
I
I'm
love
like,
that.
okay, okay, my little bunny. But I wonder if hemp is okay for them to eat. Is
Oh
it
yeah.
okay?
I
Yeah.
I so my son had hemp milk probably around a year and a half.
Okay.
Um and he loved it. I would say just making sure that it's like obviously blended or small enough so that way it's not like a if it gets like
Yeah.
scratchy. But yeah, absolutely.
Well,
It's so high calorie and high nutrient. Like I it's
I
so good.
woke up this morning and I'm like, I gave Athena some of my hemp smoothie the other day. Was that safe? Was I thinking straight? And I'm like, Maria, it's just hemp.
Whole Foods.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I think it's good. But now you just put me at ease a little bit more too. Um, okay, so I'm going to make these full on smoothies. And maybe each tray will be a different kind of smoothie. Maybe one will be a green smoothie and the other one could be like a nut butter smoothie.
I love that. I love that. You could,
Imagine, I thought I was brilliant with the Every Girl's Guide to Cooking. My third book, I made a caffeine smoothie because I would drive to work to when I was hosting News, and I would have a smoothie in one cup holder, and then I'd have my coffee in the other, and I'd have my water, and I'm like, oh, this is insanity. So I created the coffee smoothie, and I remember being on a flight auditing and like doing notes on my book and being like, I'm a genius. And then I pull something out and Dr. Oz had the same kind of recipe. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not a genius. But a caffeine smoothie could be cool too with green tea because I feel like I like my coffee ritual,
I love coffee.
but so I don't want to put it in my smoothie unless like I was going to work and couldn't have my ritual. So for some people who have to go do the grind at an
Mhm.
early hour, throwing it all in one is great. But a green tea smoothie tray will be great because I really want to incorporate green tea into my life. And I feel like I'm not doing it enough.
Yeah. You could also get, they have these like organic little kombucha packets, which have like a perfect amount of caffeine in them. And they're also green or black tea based.
Mm-hmm.
And you could put those in there as well. And it's another fermented food. I always tell people 1 to 3 fermented foods a day is
Is that what
ideal.
kombucha is?
Yeah. Kombucha is fermented tea.
Oh, I feel like every time I've seen kombucha, it was too high in sugar for me. So I had to get
Yeah.
away from it.
Yep, that's why I mentioned the packet because it's like a dehydrated version, so there's no sugar added to it. They do
What are
have
the
some
ones
on
you
the market.
like?
So I don't know the brand off the top of my head. I have them in my cabinet, but I buy them from Harvest Moon in Putnam. Have you been there yet?
No.
Right down the road from your house, Harvest Moon. It is a small local health food store. I will promote her till the end of time. She's been open forever, and she has all of your organic, like you can, it's like a walking into like the kind of like the Willimantic co-op, but just on a very small scale. So you can get
Okay.
bulk things there. Yep. You can get
I
all your,
feel like maybe I went there in COVID. I'll have to like look at my little, Connecticut guide that I created.
yeah.
But I feel like I've been there, but I wrote it down. So, and they're there, you said.
Yes. It has all the things that you would enjoy. Like if you could run down there and get your organic hemp seeds or they have everything. It's great.
Okay. Well, then that's where I'm going to go after this. I'm going to go get all of that stuff. Meal prepping. So one of the other things that when I'm really good and I'm meal prepping, like I saw my dad today, I bought lima beans last night because like I can't find lima beans anywhere. I like, and I have a lot of these recipes because they were my mom's in our book. Um, I like just set it and forget it. So I love like you can put, a couple bags of lima beans in a pan with tomato sauce and some veggies like chopped spinach, and some parsley, and then you can throw in salt, pepper, crushed red pepper, and you toss it in the oven, and that's it. Now you get this big hearty meal that you can keep in the fridge for the week and just keep enjoying it.
Oh yeah. I am a huge fan of that. I absolutely love the idea of like casseroles or Instapot dishes or crock pot dishes. I do this like unstuffed cabbage casserole that is like to die for. I do like, lentils and chopped cabbage and do like a, homemade tomato sauce. And you can do like a lean ground beef or turkey or whatever it is that you like to do. I use like pea protein crumbles. And then I'll chop in some peppers and other things. So it's like you're not having to sit there and make the glumpkies or make the whatever the thing is that you're craving. You just whip it all in the pan, mix it up really nice. And one thing that I love to use as a binder is nutritional yeast. Are you familiar with that?
I just used it on my potato stacks that I saw on TikTok.
So good.
So they have you use nutritional yeast, but I don't know what it is. So tell us what it is.
So nutritional yeast is exactly what it's. So it's a nutritional. It's not like a baker's yeast. So it's not like a yeast that you could use to rise bread. So it's like yeast flakes that are essentially made from B12 and iron and things like that. So it's like these micro minerals that are made into these like yeast flakes. Very high in protein. I want to say 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast is like 9 grams of protein for,
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a very underrated source of vitamins and macronutrients, and it tastes good. I mean,
So where do you put it?
so I put it on everything. I've been plant based for almost 8 years, and I use it as like a cheese. So I put it on my pasta. I put it on my avocado toast in the morning. Little bit of salt, pepper, and nutritional yeast.
Just
And I use
plain.
it
You
as a,
just sprinkle it on the avocado
yeah,
toast like plain.
yeah, it comes like in a shaker, so you can kind of just shake it on. And I also use it as a roux in like soups and stuff like that. So you can use it
Wow.
as a thickener rather than adding flour, which is just giving you calories and carbs and not nutrients. So it is,
Interesting.
and it's tasty too. I mean, if you would get you like, it has kind of like a cheesy, fun flavor to it.
Yeah, no, I could tell on the potato stacks that it had a flavor, but I was like, I don't really know what this is, but I liked it for the recipe that I was doing. It was basically you take like a cupcake pan and you take your potatoes, any kind of potato, sweet potato, regular potato, you slice them really thin, and then you put them in a bowl with the nutritional yeast, and I think it was olive oil and just the different spices and
Mm,
some rosemary, and then you stack them one by one on top of each other in those cup holders.
can't go wrong.
And then it's so good. And I didn't make it well the first time. The potatoes were a little too thick, but they were still delicious. I can only imagine when I do it the second time and they are thin, how great they're going to be. But the nutritional yeast was like the key for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It creates kind of like that thickener that kind of gives it like that creamy, almost, binder type consistency. And it's really high in fiber too. So it's
Ooh,
good. Good for
this
the
is
good half
my
of the carbs.
new. Oh my God, I just wrote it myself. I'm going to start using nutritional yeast on everything now that it's
You
an
should.
acceptable, healthy thing to do.
Totally. We joke around and we call it nooch. That's like the nickname for it is it's called nooch. So from 2 years old, my son would jokingly, he'd be like, give me the nooch.
Really? So you guys have been vegan his whole life, technically, right?
He has been vegan since he was born. Yep.
And how has that been when he went to school? Did he want to eat other stuff? Like, did he say, Mom, why are we eating this nooch shit and they're eating mozzarella?
Yeah. So he is allergic to dairy. So I found that out when I was breastfeeding. He would get really sick every time I'd have dairy. So we got some testing done, figured out he was allergic. And that was easy to give up because I didn't want to stop breastfeeding and I didn't want my baby to be sick. So gave up dairy at that point, and then decided to go fully plant-based. And he's really smart for his age. So he asks questions. And I've just explained to him, as young as he is, he's only 8. I've explained to him how gut health works and how we live a really healthy, sustainable lifestyle on the diet that we have. And that if he is curious, he is more than welcome to explore, with other people in his life, but that this is how we live in our home. Just because I'd never want to create that distance between me and my son, like if guilt or shame or anything, like, of course he's going to be curious someday. But at this point in time, he seems to be really content. I'm a chef, so everything that
It's
the other
good.
kids are eating, he's eating like his own version that's probably better.
Yeah, he's not missing out on anything.
Not at all.
And also, I think that once their palate is established, then everything else doesn't taste good. Like Athena, when she gets anything that isn't pure, which has only been like once or twice, like on her birthday, I had a cake made for her that was vegan and gluten free and sugar free, whatever. She spit it out. Um, she doesn't want anything like that. So I feel like once their palate is established, they will be safer to kind of explore and then be like, yeah, that's not good. Why am I going to eat fake shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So, I mean,
hoping.
you start that from a young age and you create that foundation. Like, people get so shocked because one of my son's favorite meals is, we have a 500 square foot garden in our backyard. So we harvest veggies most of the year and we grow spaghetti squash. So one of his favorite meals is I make a meatball parm. I make these black bean meatballs and I stuff them in a spaghetti squash with marinara sauce and, all these seasonings and things. And that's his favorite dish. He eats the entire half of a
Oh my
boat of spaghetti
God.
squash in one sitting.
I'm gonna come over, work out one day and never leave.
Yeah,
I want that meatball squash so bad.
it's so good.
I need to see the garden too. I feel like you and my dad will have such good garden duels.
He's so fun to banter with too. I love your dad.
He's the best. My dad's always like, look at my zucchini. It's so big. I'm like, Dad, that doesn't sound good. But
I love
but
that.
yeah, I think it's interesting to for me it'll be interesting to kind of watch Athena as she grows up because I've been trying to establish her gut and her health, have a good strong foundation so that after this, as she gets older, she's positioned the best that she can with everything that we have. I want to make sure she's as safe as she can be.
Yeah, the stronger her gut, the stronger her immune system, and the healthier foundation she'll have. You're already doing all the right things. The more exposure to whole foods and less exposure to those those simple carbs, chips and sugars and things like that.
Yeah.
You're doing all the right things. So she's lucky.
Well, she stopped really her veggies now. She hasn't been liking her veggies. So she's definitely a feta cheese, garbanzo bean, and fish and meat girl. But
I love that.
she loves her sardines too. But I feel like we're gonna leave this here, and I have my shopping list. I'm going to Harvest Moon immediately. And I think this is just the first of many episodes. So, Christina, thank you for joining the Heal Squad and for sharing all your expertise. I'm gonna continue with my isometric workouts, and I can't wait to make my freeze trays. I'm gonna show you guys on Instagram once I make them.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me, and enjoy that little fun store. And I will be back to kicking your butt with love and very shortly.
Sounds good. I can't wait. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed our two-part conversation with Christina. If you did, please share it with a friend or two or three that need to hear it. I would listen back, take all the notes, and we'll put some of the notes inside the description of the episode so that you guys can remember that you want to get some hemp milk, maybe you want the freeze trays, the kombucha packets, and the isometric movements and all that good stuff. But if it did resonate with you, help spread the word. And in the meantime, be nice people, make good choices, and be present. Hey, Heal Squad. We have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.